Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. So back on for a top 32 UK National Championship profile coming in from Carlo Wotton. You can check out his own profile, but here we have the list itself. It's a really interesting take on the Orcust strategy, and after we take a quick look here, I'm going to bring him on and ask some questions one-on-one and just get some extra information that way. So the typical parts of this are the danger lineup and most of the Orcust cards. I think the most interesting thing for me is probably the third copy of Nightmare and the double Ghost Ogre. So this is an additional special summon thanks to emergency teleports, and having triple Nightmare means it's another discard that allows them to play through a hand trap. But we will ask him some more questions on that as well. For the extra, he is playing the Winder, so we've got double instant fusion in there and the TER. And mostly fairly standard for the rest of the extra deck, double Mermaid, so you can keep playing after turn 1. On the side deck we see the double Phantasme, the third Ogre, no material, which is really impactful actually. Be interesting to see his thoughts on this. Double Evenly as well wasn't super popular at UK Nats as a side choice, so an interesting one here too. So that's it for the basics of the list. Let's bring on Carlo and ask him about it. Hey Carlo, how are you doing, and how was the event?
Hiya, yeah, I'm good, thank you. The event went really well. I felt like it was really well run. Yeah, it was really good fun to see everyone there. Because I didn't go to that many events this year, it was good to see a lot of friends from over the country come together for such a big event. And it was just really fun for all of us, really.
Nice, so why did you decide to play an Orcust deck for this event?
So I decided to play Orcust because so I was playing any old random deck until about February, and then I saw Ediception top the YCS in America.
Yeah.
And ever since then I copied his list, changed a few cards, and just fell in love with the deck. And as the deck's evolved into Azafot combos and all sorts, I've just continued to play it. And I've gone X2 at most regionals, so it felt very good finally getting a top in with a deck that I actually love, and I'll carry on playing it for the foreseeable future as well.
Yeah. And
just mess around with different lists and all sorts.
Oh, cool, yeah. So we've seen a lot of Orcust players using larger lists, including things like Connector and the Sky Striker cards. Why did you decide not to play these ones?
Okay, this is a good question. First of all, the reason I went for 41 cards was because I couldn't get to 40 to save my life.
Yeah.
I felt with Orcust, if every time you summon Mermaid and discard an Orcust, 9 times out of 10 you're just gonna be able to establish a board and you just kill them, or at least put you in a grind game. So the reason I went with 40 was I just wanted to maximise the chances of drawing something like Called By or Instant Fusion or other extenders that are just good to play. Whereas in a 60 card build, I know from when I used to play Lightsworn that I'd always draw I'd draw good hands and stuff still, but I'd never draw as many sides as needed or the Called Bys, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. You just want to increase your chances of seeing those really impactful cards as much as possible.
So I chose not to play Engage, Hornet, Kagari. I saw a couple of people on Facebook and stuff on various groups playing Hayate and Widow Anchor and Ray as an extended engine in a more 55-60 card build. See, I didn't honestly have the space because I preferred the Instant Fusion as a extender. So I was expecting a lot more Thunder Dragon when I was building my deck, so the Instant Fusion into Restrict was always a solid out for me, and it's still applicable to non-Thunder because you just make a Restrict and you can just link it off because it's dark, so you can play it after the Orcs combo. Whereas the Strikers, when you play the free engage, one Kagari, one drones, I felt that engine, as much as it's good, I just valued the Instant Fusion based situations, like the value that Winder gives and Restrict give for the matchups I was expecting outweighed the strikers. And when I was building my deck and looking at the extra deck, I couldn't physically fit both in there, so I had to make that decision. But I'm definitely going to be testing the striker engine again.
Yeah.
Coming up to like Worlds format, like, you know, the World celebrations, and I'm not going to Euros, so that'll be like LLDS season. But obviously that's a whole new format because there's probably going to be a list before then.
So you got the Ghost Ogres in here, which is a pretty unusual choice, but the interaction with E-Tally is pretty cool as well. So why else did you decide to opt to play this card?
Okay, so the theory behind Ghost Ogre was that... So E-Tally into Ghost Ogre going first is an extender, and it just helps you put an extra body on board to combo with.
Yeah.
The reason I chose Ogre, and obviously then E-Tally, was because that I was expecting to see Striker, Thunder Dragon and Pendulum a lot more than I actually did. So the idea is... So first of all, against Thunder Dragon, like, you Ogre the LP, like, they can still make really scary boards, but their boards are a lot more manageable, and like Ogre, post-siding, Ogre plus something else like Phantasme just really helps. Against Pendulums, obviously Ogre Electromite, and there's various things you can Ogre within the combos. So I was like, okay, if I have Ogre for that, then I can also sort Thunder Dragon out in the same card. It's also applicable against Striker, because in testing I found that if you Ogre the multi-roll, their boards become a lot more manageable. Like, I wouldn't say Ogre kills Striker, because obviously it doesn't, but it makes their end board, when you're going second against them, a lot easier to like play with. Like, you don't just straight out kill them, because obviously it's Striker, it's one of the best decks, but it gives you a better chance of playing through what they have and hopefully dealing like a decent amount of damage. But like, as I'll show you in my matchups, I sided out Ogre every game except for round 10, so I'm not going to keep it anymore. It's definitely going to go.
Okay. Yeah, I think, as you said, it really does come down to sort of what matchups you expect to face. And obviously you brought it in for the ones where you expected there'll be a lot more of them, but if it doesn't turn out the way, you have to account for it. But then maybe, you know, Euros might be a bit more different, might have more Thunder representation, more Pendulum representation. I guess it just depends on how the meta does evolve between now and then. So space for this list was clearly pretty tight. Obviously you cut it down to 41, which is just about manageable with the things that you cut out, as you mentioned already. But you only ran the 2 Instant Fusion. Was there additional reasoning behind this, or did you just not want to play like 42 or more cards for this event?
So the reason I was at 41 was because I was playing 3 Orcust Nightmare, whereas the standardized lists play 2. Because my logic was, if you make Nightmare Mermaid and discard Orcust Nightmare, and they like Impermanence or Ash it or whatever, then you get to summon, obviously, like, you don't get to summon Nightmare from deck. So if it's in graveyard, you just send Horror Summon Symbol, and then that lets you make like Galatea, and then any dangers let you still do the full combo. So, or if you have Instant Fusion, you can Instant Fusion into the other Dark, and then that gives you the Galatea plus a Dark to make Bardish, without having to rely on the Mermaid so much. But the downside to that was I physically couldn't find anything to cut to make it 40, because my list at 2 Orcust Nightmare was what I was playing for ages, and then I just put the third in for a local to see if it would work, and it ended up like saving me so many games, which is why I kept it. But the problem is, with my list, I felt that like I'll cut the Ghost Ogres and the E-Tally, and I'm just going to play like 2 Veiler or 2 of a Hand Trap, because now in hindsight, like, there just isn't enough. Like, obviously there's a lot of Striker and Thunder and Pendulum and stuff, but now I'm not going to as many big events, and if I was going to Euros, I would probably play Ash or Veiler over the Ogres and then just take out the E-Tally straight away. But I still swear by the 3 Orcust Nightmare, just because it came up so many times. Like, even in the mirror match, it was the fact that I was able to send a World Wand in their turn to boost up my monsters, and like, I wouldn't have to have so much resource management on my 2 Orcust Nightmares, because I knew I had the third in deck if need be, whereas my opponent didn't know I had it and didn't have one for themselves.
Yeah, I think conceptually it's really cool, because obviously you just play around hand traps so much more efficiently if you see more of it. It is obviously a little bit of a problem that you can potentially brick up multiple copies, but then they're always going to be live in later turns anyway because you discard stuff. So I think it's absolutely right that you can justify having 3 copies of this in the deck.
To be honest, I didn't want to play 41, so I definitely wasn't going to play 42 or more, because as I said previously, like in my history of playing bigger decks, I just don't see my side cards as often as I need to. And like with Orcust, because you only need 2 monsters to go on the board, I just went with the ones that I was more comfortable with opening, like Terraforming, Light Stage, Candina. Those are all fine. And I didn't want to keep increasing the amount of normal summons in my deck, because ideally you want to normal summon Harp Horror and then use an extender, and then that's like full combo. So it's like playing, I have 4 normal summons in my deck as it is, being one Candina, 3 Harp, and I didn't really want to add to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the more normal summons you have that aren't the Orcust cards, it kind of becomes more difficult, because like, if you normal the Harp, at least if your combo gets hand trapped, then you're doing something. Whereas anything else is just kind of lame, because an interrupt just wrecks you unless you have more extenders. So yeah, I absolutely agree. Just none of the normal summons are as impactful as you want them to be anyway. Moving on to the side deck though, I see you played triple no material, which I don't think we've seen an awful lot of, at least in UK events before. So how was this for you?
No material was strange. So against Salamangre, I never sided it. I purely dedicated that and Lancia to the mirror, because when you go first in the mirror match, the instant fusion goes in because you have to do the Dingirsu window play, otherwise you lose if they Lancia you. But the reason why I put the gnomes in is because in the mirror match, like, you always want to go first. So having 3 Lancia and 3 gnome is as close to having 6 Lancias as you possibly can. So the idea is, like, you gnome the Galatea that's underneath the Bardiche, and then their combo gets like, it doesn't obviously kill them because the deck still has like double Fogblade Crescendo, but it just really hurts the combos. But it really limits what the deck can put out. Obviously hand dependent, you can still have godly hands and still play through it, but I just felt that it makes the boards a lot more manageable.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like, you're not trying to just outright win through it, you're just trying to make it so that you can win off your own cards in the following turns.
Like, the key focuses in my side deck were to make, so instant fusion was to go first, but the rest of my like hand traps and side deck stuff wasn't really to be like, apart from reboot you just drop it and kill them, like that's the idea of the card, but the rest of my side deck was focused more on making their boards more manageable, because I was fairly confident that like once they run out of resources, I'd be able to maintain and control mine to like enable a state where I would just be able to accelerate and just push through for damage and just win the game from there.
Yeah, damage does kind of help in, especially when you're going close to time. You do want to be able to deal some of that in and steal a win from anywhere. So your main deck features a sort of variety of decks that influence the side deck, obviously. So you can obviously end up with a lot of 3-ofs post-siding. But was there a reason why you didn't want to just play the 3-ofs in the main, things like the triple Ghost Ogre, or maybe something else like triple Instant Fusion, and just not play some of the other cards?
Okay, so in regards to that, well, I was siding the 3rd Ogre because I didn't want to play 3 going first. I valued the E-Teleport going first over the 3rd Ogre, but if I was like, so I'm taking that out anyway, but say like hypothetically I kept it in, I would still go with 2 in the main, 1 in the side, purely because you don't want to open Ogre going first. Like, going second is fine because it's hand trap, but you want to play like as many extenders going first. Same as Instant Fusion, really. I wanted to play the 3rd Instant Fusion, but I couldn't find space. But I felt like 2 was still a decent number because you summon Darks off it anyway, so it's not restricted by your own combo. And it's just a good extender. And with the whole Winder Dingirsu play, that was like the main focus for me for the card. So going first game 1, it wasn't a priority. However, going second, Instant Fusion, like going into second game, Instant Fusion was a priority if I thought I was going first, because I had to protect myself from Lancia. And also against Thunder Dragon, I would have to have the 3rd instant, because it would like it would increase the chance of me getting to restrict and just trying to make their board like a bit weaker. I also didn't max out on light stages, and I know that's like a standard thing to do, is play 3 light stage, 2 terraforming, and then you can play like set rotation and closed forest or like other field spells like mine. But the 2 terraformings and 2 light stage was actually quite good for me, because I didn't want to rely too heavily on like opening hands like terraforming light stage, because yeah, obviously that can play for a hand trap, but the idea was you just wanted to see light stage plus as many extenders, or like terraforming with a danger or something like that. And after you've normal summoned Candina and added Corobane, the rest of your trick strength is dead anyway, so I wanted to minimize the amount of things that would be dead to draw. So like after I've done an Orcust combo that started off Tricksters, I end up having 1 dead light stage at least and 1 dead terraforming at least. So adding to that wasn't an ideal thing, especially with 3 Nightmare in main.
Yeah, exactly. When you're playing a combo deck that already runs bricks, you really don't want to be adding more bricks onto that D. So we've sort of discussed this a little bit already, but are there any other changes that you'd like to make to the list?
Okay, so the changes in my list, I take out the Ogres and the E-Telly, because in theory they're a lot better than in practice. Like E-Telly did win me a couple of games because of like it just gave me an extra extender when I needed to, and also I summoned it in my opponent's turn once and used it to outlane their Electromite. But apart from that, like that was it really. Yeah, I'd probably put in like Veilers or a 3rd instant fusion, but I'm not 100% sure at the moment what I would change like for sure.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, it is still very early days, of course. It's only been like it's not even been a week yet. So if not the changes then, how did all of your rounds go, and did you really know what made you win or lose in each particular round? Rounds
1, 2 and 3, I won. Rounds 1 and 2 were Salamangreat, like I just drew nuts. And like all my games throughout the whole event were just amazing, like they were all really good fun. And like none of them were really easy, which is also good. Like they were all like, I played against good players all weekend. Like all my opponents, I wasn't playing against anyone who was like misplaying or anything. Like they were all like giving me like a run for money. So like I respect everyone I played against. They were all great guys. Like round 3, I played against Dinosaur Orcust.
The better one.
And like it was purely die roll. Like I don't know how I won that, but it was so close. Like I won in time by like 200 life points. It was nuts. Round 4, I then lost to Salamangreat. Like I drew like okay, but I just didn't see any of my sides in game 3. And he had like Lancia Dweller, and that I just didn't draw enough to play through it, so I ended up just losing. But it's fine. It was a nice guy. Like shout outs to Robert Grant for that. So round 5, I played against Orcust. I won 2-0. Game 1, he bricked. Game 2, I drew everything I needed, like the called by, the ogre when I needed it, etc. Then going into round 6, I was like fairly confident because I was on like a medium table and I was like, okay, this will be fine. Like, I seem to be doing alright today. So I played against Madolce. He made me go first, so I thought he was playing like Invoked Mechna or something. Or like a going second Trickster, or like just any going second, like evenly matched kind of deck.
Yeah.
But he didn't seem very confident with his hand. Like, his poke face was amazing. So I made Bardish Longesu with Double Fog Blade and a field spell with Symbol and Dingesu Engrave. So I was pretty confident.
You were fully set for this.
So he twin twisted my back row and draw phase, standby phase. So he hit both my Fog Blades, and then he destroyed my field spell, Kaiju'd me, and then continued to normal summon Magdalene and OTK'd me.
Oh, I'm so sorry that happened.
So I was like a bit confused, but it was a very good game. Like the fact that that deck literally normals Magdalene and just if I have no hand traps it kills me was just nuts. Like I really underestimated how good that deck is now with that new card. So going into game 2, I was like, yeah, you go first. And I gnomed his chocolate mode so he couldn't make any link plays. But instead he just put like 5 Madolches and a chocolate mode on field. And I couldn't destroy all of it, so he then just OTK'd me. So that was over in like 5-10 minutes. And that put me on like a bit of a tilt, because I was then like sort of on the bubble on round 6, so I had to win like 4 games to get into top cut. But like that that matchup would need Vela so much. So that's one of the reasons why I want to put Vela back in.
Yeah.
Round 7, last Swiss round of day 1, I played against Guru Control. He was a good player though, like Dell's a good player. I just drew the nuts, like twin twisters and everything when I needed it. And then I eventually, like, because I drew so much removal, I just ended up grinding and pushing for game. So then, yeah, so I ended day 1 on 5-2, which I was very happy with, because like this is like my first, like, it's my second nationals, and the last nationals I was X3 after day 1, so I was happy that I was like improving. So I ended day 2 after getting stuck in traffic and almost being late to the venue because of some like marathon thing going on, and I have to play against a guy called Michael Broadbent. Honestly, great guy. I was honestly bricking it. Like, I was so nervous to play against him because I've played against him before and he's such a good player.
Yeah.
But it was the mirror match, which I was lucky in that sense because I knew the mirror match fairly well. And I won game 1, so I drew like everything I needed. Game 2, I basically just lost to the standard board, like didn't draw my sides. He went nuts, I had no responses, couldn't break it, so I lost. Game 3, the third Orcust Nightmare came in clutch.
Yeah.
And I just drew everything and just ended up pushing for game. I then played Salamangreat, round 9. I won 2-0 against that. Like, I just rebooted his back row and OTK'd game 2. And game 1, he had no hand traps and had the full combo. So there's not really a lot to talk about in that. Pendulums. The Ogre came in amazing in round 10 for Pendulums, because you just Ogre the Electromite and you can Ogre like certain stuff in the scales, and yeah, it's just a solid card for that. So after day 2, I ended up X2, like 8 wins, 2 losses. So I was 14th place after Swiss.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And like, I was never thought I'd get that far. But so I then go into top 64, like thinking, oh my god, like I'm actually gonna lose this. And I play against Salamangreat. And I sat next to this guy for like 3 rounds in a row, so I knew what he was doing. He won the die roll. He dwelled me with, I think he dwelled me with like a couple of back row. But I drew like godly. I drew the instant fusion, I drew the light stage, I drew called by. I just pushed for game. Game 1. Game 2, he went first and Dweller Lanced me, so I just couldn't play. So like, going into game 3, thinking that I'm gonna go first, I knew he'd have a lot of hand traps in. So I blind second. I know it was really risky, but I wanted to see if he'd open a lot more hand traps. And he literally just set and passed. So I just twin twisted and just killed him.
Yeah, sometimes that's just the way it goes.
Because all he was drawing was like hand traps, and I had the called by, so he just couldn't really do a lot. So I then advanced into top 32. I played another Salamangreat player. Game 1, I lost game 1, I won game 2. Game 3, went backwards and forwards a bit, but he had the Lancia, he had the impermanence for the mermaid, and he just had everything like Dweller a lot. So I lost that, unfortunately. But the main things I lost to the whole weekend, I'd say, were the fact that I didn't draw sides when I needed them. Like, I'd rarely draw. I think I drew my sides like only like half the games. Like, I actually sided in on.
Okay.
So that was like a bit of that wasn't very good. And Lancia was seriously under it. Like, our Lancia is honestly such a nutty card against this deck. I really wasn't in testing. Like, I managed to play through Lancia, but when you don't open any Orcusts and they Lancia you, it's just so hard to play. Because all you do is just sit on a Dingirsu, and that's basically it. And you just pray they can't kill you or gain too many resources. But yeah, the main weaknesses were Impermanence on Mermaid and Lancia for me the whole weekend, and 90% of my losses were because of one or both of those alongside a Dweller.
Alright. What do you reckon is the best or the worst matchup for this deck?
So the best matchup for this deck, like, it just outright destroys Rogue. It has a surprisingly difficult True Draco matchup, purely because of the amount of floodgates they play. Makes it harder for you to like establish a decent enough board to play through, especially when all of their stuff, just by playing normally, ends up destroying your stuff. If that makes sense. Like, yeah, just to summon, they end up hopping a card on your field and stuff like that. Like, Longirsi gives you a bit of protection, but still it's not like a great matchup. I'd say, I think Pure Striker is actually like a pretty difficult matchup for my deck, because it's just so much resource control and everything. If you're not anticipating a Madolche matchup, that deck is actually nutty against you.
Yeah, I guess you have to avoid Madolche. So are there any shout-outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, for my shout-outs, so first of all, shout-outs to everyone from Winchester. So Josh Mills for being in my hotel with me, being such a great guy all weekend, and all the support him and Tyler Convery, Harry Simpson, Ben Popel, Ben Polding all gave me. Shout out to all the disciples that I saw at the event, all great guys. Sean Spackman for top 8-in, so Jake Quincy for top 8-in, like great guys. Huge shout out to JY Sharif, because I've seen him at a lot of events and he always sees me like slightly on tilt because I never top anything. And he was supporting me the whole of day one because I was proper like nervous about it and really wanted to do well. And he was just telling me like, relax and I've got this and I'm gonna be all right and all this. So honestly, mad respect for JY for putting up with me for so long. Shout out as well to Northern Card Gaming. Great guys. I get as many singles as I can from them, so if you need any, if they need any cards, go to NCG. They're good mates of mine as well. They're always nice people. Say hello to them at events and everything. They'll be at vendor tables, team members, everything. They're all nice.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna miss people off, but shout out to my locals, YJTC Bournemouth, best locals. Love everyone there. They're all great guys. Shout out to the store Level Up as well. I go there quite often just to have some friendly tournaments and stuff. It's good fun. I know I'm probably going to miss people off, but everyone who supported me at the event and outside the event, massive shout out to you. I appreciate everyone I played against on the event. I appreciate all the judges, everyone who hosted the event, like Ben Lavelle, everyone. And everyone who just supported me in general, really. Just for in and out of Yu-Gi-Oh, just shout outs to all of them. They've all been great. All my friends have been so great to me. I love them all. So yeah, thank you. Also shout out to you for actually having me on your channel again. I'm glad I got on there eventually for a proper top.
No worries, it's always a pleasure to have you on the channel. Thanks very much for coming on and sharing all these insights. Congratulations on your top and good luck in the future.
Thank you.